Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the King Kaye Games channel. My name is Kay. It is good to have you with us today. Today, we are in World of Subways 4. It is a route that is close to home for me. It is the number 7 train in the New York City subways, and it goes from Times Square, Manhattan, all the way out to Flushing Main Street. I remember riding this train very well as a kid, and it's very nostalgic for me in that sense. And I would like to share my experience with you. So come along with me as we take a ride on this old time Redbird train out to the ballpark and beyond. But without further ado, let's get started. All right, so here we are in Times Square. I'm just going to get the cab set up. Now, I do not know this process by heart, so I did have to write all of this stuff down because, as you can see, uh, I cannot control a cursor. So all of these are shortcut keys, and I, for the love of me, could not remember any of this stuff. So I had to write down my startup setup. But now that we are set up, we are just waiting for our departure time, which will allow us to travel to our next destination, which should be Fifth Avenue in Manhattan, Midtown Manhattan. Now, there are cutaway shots for this game. This is actually my first time playing this. So I'm actually learning as we play the game. But I do believe that there are no cutaway shots underground, which kind of defeats the purpose of having a subway game because the game should be underground. But I digress. So, in a second, we shall be closing the doors. Now, I am not controlling the doors, I am actually playing on the beginner level. So, I have my own person closing the doors.
This is a Queens-bound 7 local making all stops to Flushing. Fifth Avenue will be next. Step in and stand clear of the closing doors.
And the doors will be closing. Next stop is Fifth Avenue. Here we go. Now, I remember riding this train as a kid, and it was one of the best experiences I could have ever had. Growing up as a Mets fan, I used to take this train out to the ball game. Coming from the Bronx, it was a long, lengthy train ride because I would have to do this whole ride, plus in the Bronx as well. But this is Fifth Avenue, Bryant Park. Also, I want to add that this game is not new. It's many, many years old, but it still holds up. You can tell by the disco pants you see all these people wearing that this game is not new. But this is Fifth Avenue. Those will be opening on the left.
This is Fifth Avenue. Transfer to the BD, F, and M trains. This is a Queens bound 7 local. Grand Central's next. Stand clear of the closing doors.
I do want to note that although we started in Times Square, this train actually goes to 34th Street, Hudson Yards, which is where the Javits Center is located. And also, we do not still use these Redbird trains that we are currently in. They are all modern and up to date. But this is Grand Central. You might remember this station from some of the videos I've done. Metro North, Long Island Railroad. All these stops meet up in this one location. Doors will be opening on the left.
This is Grand Central. Transfer for the 4, 5, 6 and shuttle trains. This is a Queens bound local to Flushing. Vernon and Jackson is next. Stand clear of the closing doors.
Next stop is Vernon and Jackson. Vernon and Jackson will be the first stop in Queens. As we travel under the East River. It's really a different feel traveling on the New York City subways. Like it's undescribable. The feeling you get moving around back and forth while the train is traveling at 50 miles an hour under a river. And it's got a very distinct noise, like that noise you hear, the clickety clackety, clickety clackety. It's very distinct. And I like to drive a lot of UK trains, and I don't get this feeling that I get when I used to ride on the subways. And it's part of the reason why I like the Elizabeth line so much, because I want that feeling that I had when I was a kid of still riding on the New York City subways, even as an adult, traveling to school or whatever. But we're coming up on Vernon and Jackson, and the doors should be opening on the right. And I feel like these passengers are a little too close to the edge here. This is Vernon and Jackson.
This is Vernon and Jackson.
Hunter's Point should be next. The unique thing about Queens is there can be multiple streets with the same name. Like you'll have Vernon Boulevard, Vernon Square, Vernon Street, Vernon Corner, so you can get lost real quick in Queens. It's the one thing that's unique, but it's also the one thing that I hated about going to this borough. Doors should be closing. Stand clear.
Flushing local, Hunters Point next, stand clear of the closing doors.
Another interesting note. Next stop is Hunters Point. I'm from the Bronx, and we have Hunts Point. I don't know if it's a coincidence or who's had it first, but I'm being from the Bronx. I'm going to say we've had it first. This is Hunters Point. And these people are really close to the edge, past the red line. Kids, not safe at all. The doors will be opening on the right.
This is Hunters Point.
As we transfer from subway to elevated, we will be heading outside next. And the first stop will be Court Street. Court Street. Stand clear to closing doors.
Flushing local, Court Square's next, stand clear of the closing doors.
Gotta take these turns a little slower. Gotta hop out for a little bit. Hop back outside. For an older game, this really holds up. And as you can see, the train is red, which is why it's called the Redbird. It's literally the color and the name of the train. As you hear the ambient noises of Queens. I would say it's really not that accurate. Like, Queens is not really a bad place to live. And this game does not do it justice with the sirens constantly on the outside views.
This is Court Square. Transfer here for the EG and M trains.
Stand back, please. Look at that suit. Jesus. I'm so confused. Some people got on summer dresses. Some people got on winter clothes. But this is Court Square. I just remember as a kid looking out of not this window, but directly to the left of this driver's cab is a door that separates the driver from the passengers, and there's another door that opens up into the front of the train. That front of the train has a window identical to the window that you're seeing right here, and I would look out this window even in the tunnels. It's a beautiful thing to see as a kid, driving in the subway tunnels like that. But even as a kid, I would look out this window on the outside and just look at all the scenery of Queens, the Bronx, not really Manhattan, because Manhattan is mostly underground.
Flushing local Queensboro Plaza is next. Stand clear of the closing doors.
But I just remember taking in the ambiance of my city as a kid, looking out these windows, which adds to my nostalgia of a kid. And for the most part, it looked just like this. This is before all the upgrades that New York has went through. Up outside for a little bit. All of this is very familiar to me. As we approach Queensboro Plaza, which is a big transfer point in Queens. This is considered Long Island City. Although it's in Queens, it was called Long Island City.
This is Queensboro Plaza. Transfer here for the N and W trains.
Next stop's 33rd and Rawson.
Queensboro Plaza next stop is 33rd and Rawson. Stand clear of the closing doors.
I don't know if you got a chance to notice it, but on that last outside shot, there were a shot of the Twin Towers in the background. Just goes to show you how old this game is. And you can also tell by the cars down below that this game is at least in the 1995 to 2000 era. Graphically, it holds up well. I have no issues with the graphics whatsoever on this game. But learning how to drive this was not that hard at all. I tried it once and just got a feel for how the train moves. And the second time, I finessed it a little bit better. And now I'm driving it fully with the understanding of how this beast of a machine works. Hop out for a little bit. And just seeing these shots like this just reminds me of looking up and hearing all of the screeching that you hear from the train. All of that's very accurate. As we've seen a car in this van pass by. I don't know what that's about. These guys are way too close to the edge for me. Please stand back.
This is 33rd and Rawson.
That jacket. This is 33rd.
Flushing bound 740th Street is next. Stand clear of the closing doors.
th Street and Lowry Street is next. I just remember taking this train as a Mets fan out to Shea Stadium, which you will see in this game because this game is that old. Shea Stadium does not exist anymore. And missing the express trains because they were always crowded, especially on game day. The local was always easier. So most of the time we would hop on the local just so we can get a seat.
This is 40th Street.
I don't know what that outfit was. This is 40th and Lowry. Sixth Street should be next. That old town bus down there.
th Street's next. Stand clear of the closing doors.
Once you get the hang of it, driving this is really not that hard. Once you understand the braking of it, it's just like any other train. With practice, you get better. But this is 46 and Bliss. Doors are opening on the right.
This is 46th Street. Flushing local to Main Street. 52nd Street is next. Stand clear of the closing doors.
And that sound is also another nostalgic moment for me because as a kid, that was always in my head. I would always hear that boom, boom. And to this day, they still use it on the trains in New York City. So whenever the doors close now, you hear that boom, boom on most of the BMT lines.
This is 52nd Street.
Man, we wore some funky outfits back in those days. Of course, I was a kid, so I wasn't wearing that, but in the era where my mom was in her 20s, rocking the afros with the bell bottoms, the clog shoes, I'm sure it was a good time to them, but you wouldn't have caught me wearing that. Nippa Dip Noodles is very heavy on this route, so I'm assuming they're a big sponsor.
Flushing local to Main Street. The next stop is Woodside. Stand clear of the closing doors.
All right, Woodside is next. 61st Street is your station. This thing's rocking. This is Woodside, Queens. Woodside.
This is Woodside.
This game is very accurate for a at least 20-year-old game. I would say 25-year-old minimum. But just shows you how far we've come. 69th Street is next. Doors will be closing soon.
69th is next. Stand clear of the closing doors.
I wonder what graphics this is running on. I'm going to assume it's definitely not on Unreal Engine. But overall, I think this game looks very good. Especially for a 25-year-old or more game. It accurately captures my childhood memories of riding the subway and wanting to be a train driver myself. Step back, please. As that bag just magically appeared.
This is 69th Street. This is a Flushing local heading to Main Street. 74th and Broadway's next. Stand clear of the closing doors.
'74th and Broadway is next. I believe there may be a Broadway in every borough of New York City. This is 74th and Broadway. I can't get over these outfits. Pretty funky.
This 74th and Broadway. Transfer here for the E, FM, and our trains. This is a Flushing-bound 7 train to Main Street. The next stop is Jackson Heights. Stand clear of the closing doors.
82nd Street, Jackson Heights is next. As we make our way to Main Street, Flushing. We are on the number 7 line on the New York City subways, MTA. This route is brought to you by Nip a Dip Noodles. Stand back, please. That guy magically had a cup in his hand. That guy as well. Her bag just magically appeared.
This is Jackson Heights, 82nd Street.
I will give this game this. There are a lot of Sims on these platforms. I understand they're not moving. Technology has advanced a lot since then. But Dovetail could probably learn a thing or two. Stand clear to closing doors, please.
The next stop is Elmhurst Avenue. Stand clear of the closing doors.
All right, the next stop is 90th Street and Elmhurst. 90th Street and Elmhurst. We are playing World of Subways 4. This is the 7 line. New York City Metro Transit Authority. Man, I can't get over these funky outfits.
This is 90th Street, Elmhurst Avenue. This is a Flushing-bound 7 to Main Street. The next stop is Junction Boulevard. Stand clear of the closing doors.
Junction Boulevard's next. I would say I'm doing quite well for my first time playing this in full. And I really am impressed by how well the graphics are standing up with this quarter of a century old game. Junction Boulevard. Doors should be opening on the left.
This is Junction Boulevard. Flushing bound 7 to Main Street, Corona Plaza is next. Stand clear of the closing doors.
Third Street and Corona Plaza is next. I do think the added conductor announcements helps this video a lot, because it definitely feels more realism and immersive for me, nostalgia wise anyway. But this is Corona.
This is 103rd Corona Plaza.
We're getting close to our final destination. Next stop's 111th Street.
111th Street is next. Stand clear of the closing doors.
As we see this beautiful Redbird train from the outside. And you see Shea Stadium to the left. Big part of my nostalgia. Big part of why I actually became a Mets fan.
This is 111th Street.
Guy had a suit like Dan Ives. Look him up. Pretty sure you'll see a suit like that.
Main Street bound 7. Willets Point Shea Stadium's next. Stand clear of the closing doors.
Next stop's Shea Stadium. Flushing Meadows. Cool thing about Shea Stadium, it's actually in a park. It is in Flushing Meadows Park, which is where, if you're not from New York, the Unisphere is. You have the Arthur Ashe Tennis Stadium. You have the Queens Science Center. And the marina is also over there as well. But this is the shot that I always remembered. Just coming up and seeing that big behemoth of a stadium to my left as we get closer to the station. As it travels over the Van Wyck Expressway. There's beautiful Shea Stadium. no longer there. So sad. But sometimes you gotta make way for the new. And now we have City Field. But this is Willets Point, Shea Stadium in this era.
This is Willets Point. Exit here for Flushing Meadows Park. Exit here for the Arthur Ashe Tennis Center. Exit here for Shea Stadium. The next and last stop is Main Street. Stand clear of the closing doors.
Main Street's next. Now, the borough of Queens is a very diverse borough. You have all sorts of people, especially on this line right here. Main Street is a very heavy Asian populated area. So once you exit the station, you will see a lot of Chinese signs on the stores. Also, it's a very big, I would say, transfer point. Like all of the main bus lines meet in this area that can take you to the Bronx. Like there's a bridge that can take you to the Bronx from over here. If you go more to the right of this borough, you can get to Long Island. Certain parts of this borough will connect you to Brooklyn, obviously Manhattan, because that's where we came from. But I actually had a friend who lived in that building right above this station to the right. But this is Main Street, Flushing.
This is Main Street. This is the last and final stop on this train.
And there you have it. That is the number 7 train. And we are playing World of Subways 4. Hope you guys enjoyed it as much as I have. I would also like to mention that these Redbird trains, these red trains that we've been riding on, are, at the time, were all on the trains with numbers. And I believe they were called the IRT back at that point. There were actually two competing subway companies, the IRT and the BMT. And the IRT had all of the number trains, and the BMT had all of the letter trains, the A, C, E, D, E, F, G, M, whatever you call it, the S for the shuttle. And all of the number trains were one, two, three, four, five, six, seven, and nine. But the one and the nine train were basically the same train. So I don't understand what they were doing with that, and I think it's still like that to this day. Uh, they've alternated destinations with most of these trains to this day, and I probably would get lost if I were to ride the subway today, being that I live in Jersey and I'm not up on current train maneuvers that they've been doing. But if you ask me, nothing has changed since I was a kid. The subway system still looks the same as the day I first started it. They made little minor tweaks, like I think they may have new actual physical trains now with walk-through gangways. But other than that, they really have not made that much of a significant change in my eyes, other than raising the fare price and adding probably PIS screens and stuff like that. They've been trying to improve it. I will give them that, but I just don't think it's uh, working the way New Yorkers want it to be. Me personally, I think a lot of the situations that people have been in the past, where people have been pushed on tracks, could all have been avoided if they did anything like what the rest of the world does, like uh, like the UK has glass doors that only opens when the train's door opens, and I think they could have tried something like that. But that's actually gonna do it for me on this trip. I hope you guys enjoyed it. It's something different other than Train Sim World or Train Sim Classic, and I think I'm gonna start delving into some different stuff in the future. If you actually like the content, uh, just give me a little shout out down low in the comments and tell me what you would like to see me do. Um, I would actually like to try to do the Tadami line, so I'll probably do that before its launch on TSW6 pretty soon. But other than that, I am open to suggestions, and uh, you can catch me streaming live, usually on Twitch on Saturdays, 1 p.m. Eastern. Other than that, I hope you guys have a great weekend, day, whatever it is when you're watching this, and I'll talk to you later. See you later.